I want to talk about the day that Judy went missing. Since we have mom and dad on, I really want to hear their recollection of that day and the next day. Walk us through that day on February 6th. What do you remember about that day, Mr. or Mrs. Petty? When did the family, Judy went to the library. She left at what time? It was around 5 or 6 o'clock, right?
A little bit earlier than that.
Earlier.
Okay, she left around 1 o'clock, whatever, somewhat. And then it was around 4 or 5, I think, right?
Yeah, she never came back, and yes, started getting worried.
It was about 4. That's when we started getting more concerned. Is around the 4 or 5 o'clock mark, because if she was taking a long walk, that was normal. But once he hit a certain time, it wasn't normal. And if Judy told you she was coming back, which she did, she said, "I'll be back in a little bit." She would do what she said. She'd be back home.
And it wasn't a very long walk to the library from the house, was it? About 10, 15 minutes?
Correct.
Okay.
About, yeah.
Correct.
My brother-in-law passed away, and she was concerned about where he was at.
Because she didn't get to go to the funeral.
And we thought she would possibly be over in the cemetery looking for the plot where he was buried. We checked that out. That was one of the first places we checked. And she wasn't there. So I run the roads back and forth from here to the farm and couldn't find her any place. Had I known you could get there the way she went, I would have been able to find her. But I didn't know that way. She always run around finding different places to drive and nose around to. And
We would always, Judy and I would take Mom for different rides. And Judy found that route and thought it was so beautiful. And she liked to take Mom on, and she had drove that way with her several times. But I said I never dreamed of her ever walking.
that was the shortest way to the farm.
Yeah,
here.
they told us, the police told us that was the shortest way. But to walk it, I still believe anyone could walk that far.
We did look at it. So from that day, she left the house to go return some books and movies to the library, which is a 2-minute walk or not very far. Is that right?
About 10, 15 minutes. They did tell us that she turned her everything in.
Okay.
So we know she made it that far. We have no idea definitely until they were looking for her, and then they called in that she was missing. And they said you have to wait 24 hours before you do anything,
Or they can do it.
before they can do anything.
When did you call the police? What time? Do you know when that was?
Michelle had asked me, because we took Michelle's girls to church with us that night. And so she asked me, would Judy be still at the library? So me and Jim went to the library and checked for her. Then we went to the cemetery because I knew she was wanting to see where Uncle Bill was buried. So we went there and it was locked up. So we went into the park, Parkersburg Park, and found a police officer there. So we told him about her missing. So then he came to Grandma's house.
About what time was that?
That would have been after church. So it's after, I say, gone on 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then he went to the house and talked to the family, ask them questions.
Mr. Petty, from looking at the timeline that your family provided and trying to pull things together, you decided that you were going to go take roads to the farm, which is about a 20-minute drive from where she was last seen near the library. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So walk me through that. You decided you're just going to head out that way and see if you can see her, and you made it to the farm?
That was my idea, that good possibility she wouldn't have been there yet. And I drove out Route 2 and out 31 to the farm. I drove the old St. Mary's Pike out to the farm, and I never seen her no place or sign of where she had been. Had I known, like I said, I would have found her.
You know, it's hard to say that, Mr. Petty. I hope you're not putting a lot of, I know it's hard for me to say, but she might have not already been walking if you would have went that way. You know, it's hard to know if she was already picked up or whatnot. So I feel, my heart feels for you. Unfortunately, I don't know if that would have made a difference. So you got to the farm, and tell us what you did, because you went there a few times. So I want listeners to hear. You went the first time, and what happened? Did you get out of your car? Did you go all the way up? What did you do?
No, I just went on out the road. There was another place that we had family in a cemetery. I went out and checked that too.
No, she was saying when you went to the farm, did you get out? And you said, oh,
No,
my dad's a hunter. So he always looks for footprints. And he thought he wasn't going to waste his time to drive all the way up to the hill because it could have been muddy. That he looks for footprints at the bottom of a hill. You could see if somebody walked up there.
Right.
And he didn't see any prints. So he continued on.
Right.
And it wasn't until the next morning he decided to drive up to the farm.
So you went out to the farm the first time after you went to the cemetery, right? So you went to the farm or cemetery, and then you went to your farm, and nothing was disturbed, right? You didn't see anything. There was nothing suspicious whatsoever.
no.
So then,
He didn't go up to the farm. He drove past the bottom of the farm.
They need to understand there's 410.
so you just drove past the farm, and then from there, did you just take it back home?
Yes,
To different roads? Okay.
I went back a different way.
You went
Right.
back a different way.
That's just something I didn't know. I wished I had it.
I know,
How
but
far
it's
is
hard to know, you know?
Oh, I know. It's goes over and over in your mind. What if?
I know.
From the bottom of our hill to the main road is about how far up to the farm?
3/10 of a mile.
3/10 of a mile. So again,
That's a distance.
Yeah.
So
Right.
the first time that you drove past there on that night, did you see any smoke, any flames? You didn't see anything. All was quiet. Is that right?
Right. Yes.
Right.
So you get home, the police come to the house, you file a missing persons report. Family, you all continue to look for her until 2:30 in the morning, right? No sign of her anywhere.
Correct.
So then the next morning you wake up, I'm sure you didn't sleep very well or hardly at all.
First thing I did the next morning was go to the farm.
Okay.
I drove up pretty much to the farmhouse. I got out and walked. I found a footprint. I noted right at that time, but I took a picture later. Went up to the house. And so I got right to the place. I never even noticed it was on fire. There was still probably 2 foot of flame in the middle of the house. That's when I had no phone with me. I had to go back down the hill and go to the neighbors, get a phone, and call. And I said, the house is burnt to the ground, and there's no sign of Judy yet. And that's pretty much where I went to pieces.
So do you remember about what time you got up and you started?
I'd say probably at that time, probably 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Okay. And that was your first trip back out to the farm, or did you go back out and then, or was that your third trip?
That was probably the 5th or 6th trip.
Okay. So you were back and forth just because where else could she be?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking that for this is because the beautiful chronicle order that you all put together, I'm just putting together a very easy first glance timeline. So I was just kind of trying to get times, and that's why I'm wondering. So when you went back out and you decided to go up the driveway, you could only go so far, and tell me why.
Well, I could have went to the farm, but had I got into some wires. It was over across the road, but it was a little bit soggy, and I didn't want to get hung up.
Smoke.
So I parked the car and walked the rest of the way up.
My understanding from the reports too is that it was very muddy after where I think you probably stopped, and you had to get out and walk because vehicles couldn't go up unless you were on a four-wheeler. Is that right?
Right.
Well,
Yeah, correct.
possible I could have, but I didn't want to chance it.
Right. No, absolutely, sir. So the reason I'm like asking so listeners can know that you couldn't just drive up, or so whoever went up there or was up there, probably a vehicle going up that driveway probably wouldn't have made it
Right.
Unless it's four-wheel drive.
unless a four-wheeler.
Four-wheel drive would have went in, it's no problem. They came in the next day. I also was in the next day
That was
with the four-wheel drive.
So you got up to the top of the house. The house is in flames. Tell us about that. What did you see? What was going through your mind? Like what did it look like?
Pretty well all gone.
It's like a war zone.
It just, the main beam in the bottom of the house, it didn't have a basement in it. So, crawl space, and the middle beam was still burning. And that was about all still burning. And of course, I didn't go over and look in the cellar house for no reason. And it was still on fire. There's a lot of wood in that cellar house. There's about 3 bundles of oak flooring. This is in the top part of it, nothing down in the basement. Only mostly fruit jars and things like that. But the whole top was all burned up at that time. So I didn't know what else to do. I was just called, just to try to get some help.
For listeners to know, there's your house, and none of this was nobody was living on this property.
No,
no.
So you have your house, and then separate is a cellar, but it was more like a shed for wood and tools. Is that what you used it for?
Right.
yeah.
Right.
It had a table in there that we wasn't using, and some wood, and some of my junk.
Just a little bit of storage.
I never dreamed of anything like that.
I know.
Never.
Nobody.
No.
The cellar house, the kids were always afraid because there was a black snake that stayed down there. And they would not go down and play, but they would play in the top part once in a while. And I said, I just couldn't believe when they found her remains.
Those lines that you was asking about in the bottom of the cellar house, there's a well down in the barn,
Right.
and it pumped water from there into a storage tank. And there's also the well outside of it. It also went into that tank, and then from there into the house. The tank wasn't in there at the time. I took it out. It's still at the farm, I think, someplace.
So the cellar is, how big would you say?
I'm going to guess 8, 10,
No, it's about 14.
14.
by 10.
Well,
10 by 14. Yeah.
10, 14.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit bigger.
Okay. And Mrs. Petty, you said that this is not a place that Judy would go to, right?
None of them would go down there because the snake was down there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All of her sisters are here, and we all said, we'd never go in that cellar. We had the barn, we had the garage, we had a chicken house, we had every building possible, but that cellar house just spooked us. It was dark and dingy, and I had too many other places. I could play in the hay in the barn. I didn't play in the cellar house,
That's right.
you know. So no, it's just it wasn't a place we would go. It just wasn't.
One of the things I want to set for listeners, because I think we might have moved ahead a little bit. So once
Right.
I kind of want to take us back a little bit. So once, Mr. Petty, you realized that your lovely home and property were on fire, and you ran back down, you got in your truck, you went to the neighbor's house. Is that right?
Right.
And that you had them call 911.
Well, no. They gave me the phone, and they had a cell phone. Down in the low part of the property down there, you didn't have cell phone service. So I had to take the phone and go back up the hill to call.
So there's no cell phone reception up there.
At the bottom.
At the bottom.
At the bottom.
But
Bottom.
at the top,
But
yes.
I had to go back up the hill with it to make the call.
Okay, that's really important for us to know. Okay, so there's no cell phone at the bottom of the hill. You ran back up.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't know yet. You still don't know where Judy is. So you're still out looking for her at this point. You show up. Everything is on fire that you love, and it's your family's, safe haven, if you will.
Yeah.
But you're still missing your daughter. Officials start showing up, and what was that like? What was happening at that point?
Not a whole lot from them.
Can you tell me more about that?
Well, the first two were city police that was out there. And then,
The fire department?
yeah, because the sheriff never showed up. In fact, he never showed up at all through all of
Did
this.
not show up? I'm sorry.
Nope. He didn't.
No,
show
he
up.
never showed up at all. The sheriff
sheriff.
was in office at the time. But he said he knew it was a homicide. He never came to the farm. I knew him pretty well myself.
So the fire department comes up. Everything's on fire.
They couldn't
No.
get up.
They said they couldn't
make
get
it.
their trucks up on the hill. But we have a pond right behind the house that they could have hooked some lines up that could have put the fire out, but they didn't do that.
So
never-
they didn't even come up.
Nope, they
No.
stayed at the bottom of the hill. Stayed at the bottom of the hill. And my family even asked them, can you run some lines, use the water in the pond, put the fire out. We also had volunteer, I'm not sure if I'm ahead of myself, cadaver dogs come out.
And that's why I want to clarify this for all of our listeners too, so that they can understand that the fire trucks couldn't even get up there. It was that muddy.
It's just that backwoods terrain. I mean, unless you have aggressive tires on a high 4-wheel drive, most of those hills you ain't gonna get up.
So what was their plan?
Just let it burn.
Just let it burn.
Just
That's
let
what
it
they
burn.
said, right?
Well, it was
Right.
already destroyed. I mean, that was almost completely gone anyway.
just smoldering, smoking?
How close was that pond to, let's say, the bottom of the hill or where their trucks were, just so people have an idea?
It was in behind the house.
Okay.
So the truck is a fourth of the mile down on the bottom of the hill. But they still could have used some kind of piping or some kind of hose to suction from the pond, because the pond's right behind the house, right beside the cellar house.
They all show up. Everyone's just kind of standing there saying, all right, I guess we're just going to wait for this to go out.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Petty, you're saying to them, my daughter's still missing. This is weird now that my property's on fire. Did you say that to them? What did they say?
I can't really remember the conversation. Is all I know. I went, there's a property next to us. There's a trailer up in there, another muddy road into it. Anyway, I went back ways on a 4-wheeler and the neighbor's 4-wheeler and checked over there. She wasn't over there. Neighbor's house was there. Went and checked it all over. Places she could have been out there and come up with nothing. Had those cadaver dogs hadn't have been there. I don't know how long it would take to found her.
The police.
They kept coming from the house to the cellar house. They stay over there a while and then go back to the house. Then they go back to cellar house. And that's when I went.
So the dogs were going back and forth.
Right. We looked for Judy that day and we found the farm on fire and couldn't find her. The police at that time got people together to come back out the next day, the following morning, and bring cadaver dogs out and walk the farm to see if she had passed out somewhere in the woods. She was a very bad diabetic also. We were going to start at the bottom of the hill and comb the entire farm. There were multiple people out there and the police officers and I believe some firefighters, maybe family and friends. And we started early in the morning the next morning.
So that second day, really, it was just kind of waiting for the fire to go out. Is that right, Mrs. Petty?
Yes.
So no one was really sure where Judy was yet. We're just still looking for her. Had the police started looking for her at that point?
They flew choppers around and for bodies in it. I don't know what they used, but that's what they pretty much all they'd done. And like I said,
The police.
I went down in the cellar house. And that's when I found bones.
Found her jawbone. And that's the way they identified because it had a tooth on that it wouldn't stay in. So, and the dentist kept giving her fits about it. So she super glued it back in her mouth. I said, oh. But I mean, that's the way they had to identify her remains.
I can tell you from my experience, I got there when they found the remains, and it's nothing any family ever wants to see. And you never take that out of your mind, because I never got to see my sister. I never even got to see her hair, her face. There wasn't anything left. And I just could, we were, like I said, we were in total shock to think, how can this happen? And it's just, they got to a point where they found some remains and they told us to leave. I didn't really want to leave because that was my sister. You're saying that's my sister? There's nothing to identify.
They never,
it was just horrific.
never roped it off or anything.
So tell us about that. That's kind of now where I want to go is the third day, because I think it's important that the first day, your property is not on fire. She's missing. You're all looking for her, the family. Right. You reported her missing. Day 2, the 7th, still looking for her. You show up in the morning. Property is now on fire. Still no Judy. Nobody knows where she's at. You're trying to get people to put the fire out. And you're saying, listen, we're missing a daughter and we don't know where she is. And yet that whole day, there was nothing you could do but wait for the fire to go out. But yet you continued to search for her.
Correct.
Now we're on the 8th, February 8th.
Yeah.
So finally the fire's out, right? That you're able to go up. And it was you, Mr. Petty, who asked the police to bring in cadaver dogs, right?
And they brought them in anyway.
Okay.
Volunteer people.
2 different people works the same place. Both of them had cadaver dogs.
Okay, so the cadaver dogs are coming. The fire is out, and the dogs are going from your home to the cellar, back and forth.
Yeah.
And what's law enforcement or what are they saying at this point? Your dogs are going back and forth. What are they telling you?
They didn't pay much attention to the dogs. I was watching the dogs.
So they weren't really paying attention to the dogs or saying, well, this is weird. Why are they going from the house to the cellar and back again?
No, they didn't say nothing.
Dad was the one who decided to go to the cellar.
He was watching the dogs and seeing the dogs kept going there. So he chose to look over or go down there. And that's when he said, he's seen enough. He knew.
So tell us what you saw, Mr. Petty. So you go over to the cellar and you see there's debris, right? It's all fire. It's
Oh,
burned
yeah.
down.
Yeah. And I went down inside. It was
Okay.
still warm. Some of the places still warm. But I seen bones that I knew wasn't animal. I come out. That's when it's hard to take.
So you come out and you say, raise the flag. Hello, I've just found bones. And what did they do? Did they?
Fire department, guys from the fire department went down and they
Called the coroner's office.
seen that was what was there. So they called the coroner.
Then they asked people to start leaving the farm.
Don't
But they never
contaminate.
roped it off or anything.
Didn't contaminate. Didn't want it contaminated any more than it was. There's some weeds there off the side from in behind the building and stuff. They said for me not to mess with it, they would come in and mow it down and do their own checking. Well, that never happened. They didn't come in and cut it. They didn't come in and check it. They just done a poor investigation. Grade school kids could have done better.
I agree with that.
I think it's fair to say that. So at this point, is everyone thinking this is a homicide? Is this arson? What's the kind of the feel at this? What's everyone saying?
How was our feelings?
That's our feeling.
I went in. We had a stove that had coal and wood. That was heat, of course, part of the time. And we had a gas stove too. But
We had a wood burning stove.
I thought maybe there's a possibility that she started the fire in the
Wood
stove.
burning stove.
I checked and there was nothing in there. It was cleaned out. So she didn't try to start the fire. I thought that was a possibility what happened that caused the fire to start with, but it wasn't. I'd say the building was on fire first and then the house. It was windy. I feel she was murdered and put in that building, and I figured there's enough wood and stuff to burn her body out.
Yeah, and that wood would have been good and dry too, so it would have burned hot and fast.
Yeah. I checked
We asked people around if anyone heard anything, seen any fire, smoke, smelled any smoke during the night.
Yeah.
Nobody's.
Down at the hard road, there was people's dogs was carrying on that night, but they never checked to find out why. Our neighbor was at the same beer joint that they were at that night. They closed the beer joint up early because there wasn't no customers. I asked, in fact, I was talking to him and his dad. His dad said, "Did you see anything when you come in?" Because he gave him the devil for being there. He said, "You don't need to be in that situation out there, that beer joint." He said, "Did you see anything when you come in?" He said, "No." I don't know what time he came in, but it possibly wasn't on fire when he came in. I don't know. I'm sure it was level with our property. If they'd been on fire, he would have seen flames in the air. Had he been looking, any direction.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess that's where I'm trying to go, and probably I'm sure listeners too. And you're probably wondering, I'm interested to know when this started. We don't really have a time of when this fire was started. So I think that's where I'm kind of going of, if we can remember, what time you got out there the first time on the 7th. Did you see it then? You didn't. I think you went back a couple of times. So it was probably later in the afternoon when maybe the fire was started. It's just kind of trying to figure out why it was started and when it was started. So the house, was it livable?
Yeah.
So is it possible she went in there on her own to spend the night, or?
She could have been safe if she was in the house.
Tell me why.
But there had to be somebody that was out there. I don't know. it's beyond me and everybody else. If she got to up to the house, she could have been safe until we got there in the morning, but we didn't get there that morning.
Did they ever find out the origin of the fire, where it initially started from?
No,
No,
No? Okay.
I don't think they really tried.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Justin, they never tried to.
they
Well, it's kind of sounding that way, especially because I've seen an aerial view of your guys' property out there. And the part that bothers me is the fact that, I mean, everything bothers me, let's be honest, but with a fire scenario, the way your property is, I'm surprised they weren't scared that it was going to spread, not just to other
I would
buildings,
too.
but
but they
like, how could you just let it burn?
Yeah.
Because you guys have a lot of yard, a lot of trees right there.
Yeah.
And if it's dry, like, it's going to go.
yeah.
Well, later on that same year, there's some hunters out there. Neighbors run them off. And I think they got upset, and they said it started falling in the woods. And I called the fire department there, and I told them that. But get out here now. If you don't, it's going to be spread to a bunch of wooded areas.
Yep.
Everything was
Yeah.
dry, and leaves had all dry. And
That's exactly why it surprised me that they just didn't even try. I mean, you can
Right.
even bring in stuff from the air if you're in a tough location. I mean,
Yeah.
there's several different scenarios that you could deal with, but yeah, just looking at the property, when you said that, I was like, they just let it burn, and like, you have, if it's dry, like that whole property, everything, trees, it's going to
Yep.
spread, and especially if it's windy.
yeah, it was windy, spitting snow.
But
Yeah.
Justin, I could tell you, it looked like a war zone. If you were up there, it looked like a war zone.
It's really weird. I know it's a rural property as well,
Right.
but from where your house was, you would have been able to see those flames
Right.
as soon as they engulfed the place from
Yep.
probably a couple miles away, if not
Sure.
a full mile.
There's hills up above that people live on. They could have seen it over the holler,
Yeah.
hill, or whatever. Absolutely.
Later on, the property down below us burnt down.
And you guys got a couple roads, that one that wraps around the back and then
Right.
another one comes around the front and stuff. Anybody driving on that road is going to see that fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure if it was the next day or whenever it snowed. And they pretty much told us we were done, that all the evidence was ruined because of snow. So that's when I started talking to sheriffs in Cocoa Beach, the sheriff department on homicides in California, because I knew that they were blowing smoke. It's like, what? That's not true.
Oh, yeah.
So the medical examiner came back and ruled Judy's death a homicide, which took a lot of back and forth trying to get a determination. Sorry. And you got her remains back. Tell us what happened there. They were the wrong ones.
We were getting ready to do a service for Judy, a memorial service. It was that morning. It was in the newspaper. They didn't even tell us.
We didn't know a thing about it
It was in the
till
newspaper.
we called the lawyer.
Oh, Mrs. Petty. So you didn't even know. You found out in a news.
In the newspaper, and my brother-in-law, David, called and said, please, don't tell us that's Judy. So they told us that the headquarters, I'm not sure, of Charleston was on their way to talk to my parents.
So what did they say to you, Mr. and Mrs. Petty?
They made a mistake.
Somebody
Yes,
made a
sir.
mistake and they didn't want us to sue them.
And that Daddy had to,
I want to know who did it.
Yeah.
Who made the mistake and gave Judy's remains to this other family. And then we had to fight to get
it
her
exhumed.
remains.
Back. Yeah. So not only are you fighting to find out what happened to your daughter and all that goes on, now you're adding on someone's messed up and
Fantastic.
now we have the wrong remains. And so we're not even getting that right.
Right.
That must have been, I can't even imagine. I can't even
And when
imagine.
we talked with Conley, which she was the
prosecuting.
prosecuting attorney, It's all they could tell us, that
You can't sue us.
you can't sue us.
They told you can't sue them?
Yeah.
Right.
She thought we had 20 family
I don't
members.
want to fight. I don't want to sue anybody.
Right.
I want to know.
We had about 20 family members. We set up a meeting for the prosecuting attorney with family, firefighter, the officers, and like I said, the rest of us were family. And they were more worrying about us suing them and we're sitting there saying, we don't care. We want you to do your job. We want to find out who harmed Judy, what happened to Judy. And it was just excuses after excuses of everything that Judy could have set herself on fire. I'm sorry. No one's going to set themselves on fire.
No, it's a super low percentage.
Yeah, but you know what? They thought they would be stupid enough to listen to the story. And a lot of us work in the medical field. We knew a lot of things that they were saying was not true.
Right. So they were coming back and saying, well, we think that she possibly set herself on fire. And the family, you're all going, she returned books.
Yeah.
She's a diabetic who needs her meds.
Yeah.
She would never be in a cellar.
No.
How is that all making sense? And then you get the wrong remains. So where are we at today? Have you heard from anybody?
No.
So
When's the last time you got an update?
We never get updates unless I'm the one that usually call the sheriff's department, and I used to bug them all the time, and they got annoyed with me. Unless I call them, they have never gave us an update. This last one was this year when I put the newspaper and the TV station in January. I put that out, and I called the sheriff myself because, of course, he's not going to call me. And he's the one that said he wouldn't talk to the family. He feels it's not a homicide, or there's not enough evidence to assume it's a homicide. And when I started to say that's not true, it's already been deemed a homicide, he said he did not want to debate with me or argue with me. End of story. But he said that this Judy's case will haunt him for the rest of his life. But no, he wouldn't talk to us. It sits on the corner of the desk. They do nothing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
not once in 14, it'll be 14 years this year. Not once have they ever picked up the phone to show they cared. It was always me calling them or my sister calling them.
And the current sheriff is the person who initially investigated it?
Yep, he was at the beginning of the case.
No.
He's dead.
He flew the chopper.
But he wasn't an initial sheriff. He was an officer on the case.
Yes, okay.
The sheriff has passed away since then, and I talked to him several times, and he said he knew it was a homicide from day one, but he didn't deem it that way at the beginning.
He said it was political.
He said it was political.
Right.
I could see that.
A lot.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
one that took his place said, she's a little bit overweight, so maybe she died of natural causes. That's when I wish I'd have been 30, 40 years younger. If I'd have went to jail, I'd have kicked the shit out of him.
yes, you should have kicked the shit out of him, Mr. Petty.
I agree, man. I would have too.
Justin,
Oh my
you
God.
guys have-
Oh, that makes my blood boil. If there's
Man.
anything about victim blaming here, overweight,
yeah.
I wonder what he looks like.
Yeah.
Mr. Petty,
He's overweight too.
good. Then maybe tell him. Oh, victim blaming. Oh my Lord. Mr. Petty, I would have paid your bail. Is he still around? You go hit him and I'll pay your bail. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this session up now. I think we got a good part. There's one question I think is so important that I want to throw here in at the end, especially for Mom and Dad Petty. If the person who's responsible or persons are responsible for Judy's murder, what's your message to them? What do you want to say to them?
Why? Why did you harm her?
I hope they burn in hell.
There you go. That's perfect.
And also, just so you guys know too, like once we release this, it'll literally be on the airwaves forever. Like it's never going to go anywhere. It's always going to be there. Nobody can ever delete it or anything like that. So I just want you guys to know that. So if you can say anything to the listeners who are about to get into this story or even people who might have been through this as well. Is there anything you would just like to say, just to the world?
We're not the only one that things like this has happened to. There is so many cases, unsolved cases, especially around here, that we know of, that aren't getting solved. And I don't understand why.
I said, you want to kill somebody and get by with it, bring them here. Wood County. That's a shame.
I looked up a lot of those stats, and it is kind of alarming for how small that county is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really odd.
I did too. It's pretty astounding. And I think that's something in one of future episodes when we get into that, it definitely needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this is so amazing because you guys have come and just know a little bit about us, that you're going to help us. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Always, dude.
We're just here to try to help, you know what I mean? It's
Right.
There's no thanks. I don't know how to word anything.
You know what? We've been trying to help for a long time.
Right.
And what you guys are doing is just something we've asked the police officers to do. And nobody would do it. I feel bad for anyone that has to go through what our family did. Lose your loved one, you lose your sister in such a horrific way, mix up in remains, and then you think that the sheriff and the officers are going to be behind you, helping you through this, walking through the pain and trying to get justice. And they pretty much walk away and make us feel horrible that we're bugging them. It's the worst thing you could do to anybody. You need help. And I've just heard of going through what we've been through. And I hope this never happens to any other family.
Right.
And we will not give up. We will go away.
Good. That's perfect. Like I mean, you guys are admirable, because I've never been in this situation, and I'm not going to be one of those people that pretends to try to understand where you're coming from, because there's no way I ever could. And I will say this, like, I know it's hard to relive this stuff for the purpose of recording it, and we do appreciate that, but just know that the information you're giving is very, very valuable. And that's why we had to do it. And I apologize. I know it's got to be rough, but just know that the information that you are providing is very valuable.
Right.
And I appreciate you guys
Thank
talking about it and stuff.
It's so hard to remember exactly, and we don't want to tell you something that's not true.
We're always available if something else comes to mind.
Right.
We're always available. So if there's a little mix up, that's totally fine too. Or if you remember something that you forgot earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're the best.
Thank you again, like Justin said, for sharing this information. We know it's hard. It's an honor for us, really, to work with you and to hear about her and all your efforts that shouldn't have had to be. We will definitely help you as much as we can, but you are all amazing, an amazing family. And we have such love for you. Like, we call you mom and dad. We're all mom and dad Petty.
They're your mom and dad. They're great.
We can't wait to come and have a drink. And nobody, we're going to be down there in almost a month?
2 months. It's October 22nd. Yeah.
Right.
And then we're on the flyers that we're going to hand out. We're going to have a little queue thing on it, so people can take their cell phones and just scan it, and it'll take them automatically to the Facebook discussion group about the case.
I like that.
Oh, good.
We're going to try to rally up all that support we can, and we're going to crowdsource the investigation as well in the Facebook group, which means all these people are going to come in. And if they listen to the case, if they hear something and they happen to work in the medical field, they can be like, oh, hey, something about that you need to know. This is this. And everybody is just going to get together and try to help out as much as they can.
God bless you all.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's the least we can do,
We carry this pain every day. This pain, opening it up to us, it brings back the anger of what we're going through. But the pain is still there, and it'll be there until we get justice for Judy, and it'll be there after justice for Judy. You know what I'm saying?
something I read once. I'm friends with a lot of family members of victims and stuff like that, and one woman in particular, her brother supposedly killed himself with a shotgun to the back of the head, by the way.
Oh,
And yeah, so that was ruled a suicide, and she said it best. She goes, there might be justice. Some days are going to be better than others, but there is never closure.
No.
Right.
No.
Never.
You know, that one hit me real hard because that's what everybody strives for. And when she said there will never be closure, like
Right.
if there's an arrest, we're still missing her.
It doesn't bring
Yeah.
her back. It doesn't bring her back. But still,
Exactly.
I want him behind bars.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, Petty family, thank you so much. Justin and I are so honored and blessed to be on this. We are dedicated and motivated. We'll be in touch. Stay tuned. Okay. So we'll get back together soon.
Thank you.
Love ya.
Thank you.
Love you too.
Love y'all.
Yeah, love you guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye.
Justin.